I want this to be a discussion video to an extent. A lot of things that I watch or read or whatever, I don't think people really understand. Like, a lot of stuff that I do read, it's like no one comprehends that with every action that you take, there is a consequence. No matter if you're doing the right thing or the wrong thing, right? So it doesn't matter either way, whether it's right or wrong, whatever your moral compass is. No matter what you do, there's a consequence. Whether that's a positive or negative consequence. But there's a consequence or cost to every action. Like if you're impulsive, for instance, and you do something impulsively and you don't think it through, something's going to happen long term. You didn't think it through. Me, with every action that I end up taking, I understand that no matter what I do in my life, I understand that there are consequences. And I try to help someone else out from losing something important to them. I know that doing that, I could lose my livelihood. I could lose everything just trying to do what I think is right. My body will move on its own sometimes, just to try to prevent something horrible. I also understand that the world is a very dark and fucked up place. From my point of view, the world is so fucked up. At least from the stuff that I've witnessed. And I try to do the right thing regardless. I know that most of the time it's probably going to cost me everything. It's kind of dumb to do, in a way. I don't understand, though, why people just try not to see the bigger picture of things. With everything that's going on in the world, it's like everybody only sees the stuff on the surface. But I'm always thinking about the bigger picture. Like, why do certain things happen? Why would people want this? Like, one of the things that I think about and kind of, I guess I might talk about a little bit in some of my live streams is, the fact of illegal immigrants coming to a country. If they're undocumented, the darker side of that, if you think about, if you have all this wealth and power, what could you do with that wealth and power, right? And to me, I was thinking about it. I was like, so how would I deal with that situation? If I had all this wealth and power and I knew that was pretty much untouchable, what would I do? Well, undocumented people, whether children, adults, whatever, doesn't matter. If they're undocumented, it gives you a chance to be able to kidnap someone. So, for instance, if someone's here illegally in the U.S., right, and they're undocumented, no one's gonna really speak up about it, because if you're here illegally, you don't really want to get the cops involved, because you would get in trouble as well. Even if someone came up missing or whatever, you wouldn't say anything about it, because you're afraid to get in trouble yourself. There's a very dark side to everything. No one's thinking about the darker side of stuff. I feel like I'm like the only person that really thinks about all the darker aspects of things. I know there's plenty of people that cover one side of it, but it's like no one's really taking the time to think of the other reasons why someone would want undocumented people in the United States. To me, it's like you could sell off people as slaves, or you could, use them for organs or whatever on the black market. Like, the black market's a thing. No one really mentions that stuff a lot, but it's a real thing. I mean, we have the dark web, for instance, the other side of the internet, that, you can use a Tor browser or whatever. Like, there's so many dark aspects of things, and I just don't think people acknowledge it enough. It's kind of stupid. Like, my sister is dumb. She's a very dumb person. She doesn't think things through. She just gets angry and wants to jump into a dumb situation. Instead of just arguing, she wants to get into an actual physical fight. And when you do something like that and you're not thinking it through, then if someone doesn't stop you from making a mistake, then you're going to lose something important to you. And no matter how that situation turns out, if the person doesn't stop you from making a big mistake, then you're going to be the one to suffer. And I always, no matter who it is, if I think it's the right thing to do in that situation to keep things from escalating further, if that means I have to put myself in harm's way or put myself at a disadvantage, I usually do. It's like I don't even think twice about it, you know? I understand, I can see kind of some of the stuff that's probably going to happen in that moment, or I get a feeling that something's going to happen. And I understand that since I don't have the best of luck, the darker side of the world is going to take me, you know? Like, it's just, it's like, if I didn't have bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all. That's the way I see it, right? But there's always a darker side to everything. I'm always thinking about the darker side because I understand that there are too many things on the darker side that we don't understand. You know, no one just thinks about the darker things, you know? Like, if you were to think about, if you were in a society, this is something else I was thinking about too. So, depending on the society you live in, it's also dependent on your morals as well. Your morals themselves are based on the society that you're raised in. If you were raised in a society to where, let's say, for instance, maybe pedophilia or murder, rape, that type of stuff is legal, right? Say it would be morally right to do those things. In that society. In that society, it's morally right. It's like if you were to go back in time to like the Dark Ages when people would ransack villages and kill the men and rape the women, you know? There's a darker side to everything. I just don't think anybody's really thinking about all of that type of stuff. It's all about the society you're raised in. What are you raised around? If you're raised around a lot of violence, murder, rape, and a lot of fucked up things, it changes you in a certain way. That's why I understand what I was raised around did change me, but I always try to make the best decision of what I think should be a morally right thing to do. Now, if you were in another country, their morals are different. It just depends on the country, it depends on that society. Each society is different. We have a general rules for most countries. It's like you shouldn't, murder or steal or whatever. But then there's gray areas to all that too. It's just like I feel like no one's really thinking things through about everything. There's a very dark side to this world. I just feel like I'm one of the only people that is constantly struggling with trying to find ways to articulate it. I'm not very good at all that. I just think about things and talk to myself a lot. I just understand that there's a lot of darkness in this world, a darker side of things, that no one is understanding. I just wish people would open their eyes or, open their minds. Like if you were raised in Nazi Germany, the chances are being a Nazi would be pretty high, right? Like, you think that you'd be the hero. Like, I say a lot of bullshit in my live streams. I talk about a lot of bullshit stuff. But in the end, I understand that a lot of things I say, it's just bullshit, right? There's very few people that can usually just see through all my bullshit anyways. But at the end of the day, it's like, what would I do in that situation? How would I take that situation? Then it also, when I think about that, then I have to think about, would I be enraged in that moment? If I'm having some rage issues that day and I'm really frustrated or whatever, chances are that I could hurt someone is pretty high. It'd be depending on my mood as well. It's like, what mood would I be in that situation? If I'm having a bad day, how would I react in that situation? Would I want to vent out my frustrations? Or would I just let it go and walk away? Like, there's so many things you have to think about. I just don't know. I feel like a lot of people just don't think about all that stuff. I'm always just thinking about it, like, in every situation. I also have to think about the things that pop in my mind. All the random thoughts that I get, I have to go down the path and understand why I'm having that thought. And if other people that are around me are seeing the same thing and understand what I'm saying, and they get the same thing from that situation, it's just one of those things. And there's a lot of things that are messed up in my life right now because of my sister's decision. Partly my decision as well, but if I didn't do what I did in that situation to keep her from attacking someone, she would have lost something very precious to her. I didn't want to see that happen because I had something precious taken from me as well. But she didn't think about the consequences of her actions either. I knew what the consequences were probably going to be for me. I knew that I was probably going to get fucked over. There's like no doubt in my mind. Like the chances of this thing going right for me is pretty low. And my sister also messed up something else for me. I don't know what she said to this one person, but now I can't see someone that I help babysit and stuff. I'm no longer allowed to go over to that place. Which is stupid. But, hey, there's consequences to every action. The action that I took to keep my sister from losing something precious put me in a hole. And I could probably be in trouble for a very long time. You know? And it's horrible. It's like, it's kind of like a repeat of something that happened in my past. Except in my past, I took something from the backyard of a place, because it was a misunderstanding of what the guy said. He said, yeah, you can take some stuff. He only meant by the trash can, but we took stuff from the backyard and stuff, and the state ends up pressing charges or, you know, whatever. And that's what happened when I was younger, and that's kind of happening now with everything. Whether my sister chose to press charges or not wasn't her decision. It was ultimately left up to the state, the cops, and all that. It was left up to them to press charges. And so they have to gather evidence and stuff for everything. So in the end, if my life is fucked over, I guess it means I should never try to help someone again. That tends to get me in more trouble than it's worth. Every time I try to help someone, it kind of backfires. But it's my instinct to want to help. And I have to try to break myself of a habit of trying to help people out. That's why I understand how dark and fucked up this world is. No matter if you're trying to do the right thing or not, things don't tend to work out the way you'd want it to. And I just think it's all absolutely dumb. You know, I think all of us humans are idiots. A lot of us don't realize that there's consequences, especially in this day and age, you know? Like, it's like I have no power over anything. No matter how much I try to stay positive and move on with my life, things keep going wrong in my life. Like, I don't even have that much money, and I know that my home is falling apart. You know, my ceiling wants to cave in as well. Even if I fix my roof, the next problem for me to fix is the condensation issue underneath the roof. Like, just the bottom part of the roof, the condensation of the water building up and the moisture there and then it dripping down, it ends up ruining things. So even if I fix my roof, there's other things that are going to happen. I understand that this life is a very dark and fucked up place. The life that I have keeps getting more and more fucked up, even though I'm trying to stay positive and work out and do everything I can to get past things in my life. My ex couldn't handle who I was as a person, and now I can't see my son. And everything that went wrong there. It's like I think about all these things, I'm like, even if I did make different choices, it probably would have turned out the same. And in the end, I just feel like no matter what I do, I keep failing. Though I am trying as hard as I can to move on with life. That's why I've been doing push-ups and sit-ups and stuff. Even though sit-ups and push-ups hurt my back. And if anytime I even miss a day of working out, and I go to work out again, my back hurts even more when I try to do sit-ups or push-ups or whatever. And that's something else I have to deal with. It's like no matter what I do to get a step ahead, I end up getting pulled back like 3 more steps, you know? And it's a struggle. That's one of the reasons why I haven't been putting out, you know, my story time videos as well. I'm trying to write stuff down. I've been hesitant to put something like that up. It's one of the reasons why I haven't really been live streaming as much as I would probably do, and why I don't have a lot of energy as well. I've been stressed out of my mind, just trying to get some stuff off my chest. and whatnot. I've just been thinking about a lot of this stuff for a while. The darker parts of society that no one wants to acknowledge, and also things that happen to me. Just kind of want to get it out of my mind. It stresses me out. Not sleeping very well, that's why I'm trying to exercise and keep my mind clear. I've been meditating as well, really thinking about a lot of the stuff that went wrong in my life and trying to figure out how can I correct things in my life. Even though I'm trying to make better decisions in my life, things tend to go wrong regardless. I haven't gotten depressed or anything, but I know I'm definitely anxious and stressed. Those two things are what are bothering me right now. My anxiety and being stressed out of my mind. I am trying to get past it. I might do a live stream later today. I don't know yet. I just wanted to get this all out there so everybody understands that as soon as I feel like my mind is in the right place again, I will upload a storytime video. It just sucks that just because someone else is irrational, your life gets fucked over when you just try to do the right thing in that situation. Even if you didn't carry it out perfectly, you did at least attempt to keep the person from making the worst mistake that they can make in their life. I really am trying to do the right thing as much as possible, though it keeps backfiring. I think from now on, I don't really want to be around people as much anymore. Because if I'm in a situation to keep something from escalating, I would probably try to do whatever I could to stop it, even if it risks my livelihood. I'm just tired of trying to do the right thing. I kind of feel like I'm being beaten down. I'm not giving up, but I think I need time to be alone and stuff like that. I have to think things through a little bit more and understand things more. I just understand that I'm naturally drawn to the darker side. I think about a lot of vengeful things when things go wrong for me. My mind instantly goes for vengeance. It wants me to take revenge on someone. The way I see it, though, I hope my sister does kind of die in a fire or dies a horrible death. It's just one of those things. Like, I'm glad my mom's dead. If my sister dies, then my mom's attitude will be gone from that side of the family, and maybe I can actually have a peaceful relationship with people. That's why I like going to my real dad and stuff like that, and going to the family get-togethers there. Because there, it's like they're actually a family. They're not trying to fucking kill each other. There's nothing, no drama that happens, nothing like that. I went there for Thanksgiving. I went there for the Christmas thing that they had and all that. I even got presents, which is surprising and stuff. And I got things I actually needed. I needed a basic tool set, and I got a basic tool set. I got things I needed. If I said that I needed something, I would get that. It's not like I'm not at a very big disadvantage on that side. It's like I'm more welcome there, though I do keep my distance from everyone for the most part. It's just so difficult, though, to know that no matter if someone wants me to be a part of the family, whether they're blood or not, which is a dumb thing to me, like, well, your family. Well, that's not a good enough excuse for me. I don't like to hear that. That's a bullshit one in the first place. But to know that I don't feel like I fit in anywhere. Even if people say they accept me, I know that they could turn on me in a fucking heartbeat. I mean, that's what happened when my mom died and I laughed at her death. Like, a lot of people just didn't want to hear from me because I thought it was funny that my mom died. But I stuck to what I said. I told everyone from the get-go, like, hey, I'm going to laugh when my mom dies. I think it's going to be the funniest thing ever. No one believed me. Everybody thought I would be torn apart and want to kill myself, but that wasn't the case. And I hate how a lot of people are. I got shunned for about a whole year before people wanted me back in their lives on that side of the family, on my mom's side. But my real dad, it's like I'm more welcome there, even if I do have a fucked up mind or whatever and whatnot. I'm more accepted, and I know that when I'm there, I still go outside and kind of stay alone for a little bit by myself and stuff like that, so I don't annoy anyone. I'm afraid that I'm going to be shunned like I was as a kid. It took me so long to get respect on my stepdad's side, you know? Like, it took so much. And I worked so hard to get respect. And I told people how I felt. But in the end, none of that even mattered. I think it's just so stupid, you know? No matter how hard I try, I feel like I'm always going to be shunned, and I'm never going to fit in. I've always felt kind of like a loner, and that's why I always am alone, I think. That's why I think I do better alone. Though my home may be falling apart, no matter what I fix in this place, it's eventually just going to collapse in on me. And to me, it's like, oh well. Like, if something falls apart, I'm just going to deal with it. I'm just going to leave it be and deal with it. You know, until I can somehow fix stuff. I'm just going to leave it as is. I talked about a lot in these 20 minutes or so. I'm just going to leave it at that, alright? I hope you watch it. If you did, leave a comment. Let me know what you think, stuff like that. I would love more subscribers and stuff. I would love a reason to keep doing things and something to push me to get past things more in my life. I always need something to keep me attached to this world so I don't feel so goddamn hopeless all the time. I'll just leave it at that for now. I'll talk to you all later.